Okay. Greetings and salutations, everyone. So it's always this part right in the beginning of the show where the two windows between Google Hangouts and Google, they kind of don't match and you don't know if you're really live or not. But I'm going to take it on faith after all this time on the air that I'm actually live. So hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm seeing a lot of new faces in here. And thank you so much for showing up. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. In case you haven't heard, you know, I was interviewed on Talk is Jericho by Chris Jericho, and that was released yesterday. And it was a great experience, and it's out there right now. I have the link on the community tab. I have the link pinned over on my Twitter feed, and also, if need be, I can go ahead. I think, and I'll put the link actually here afterwards. I think that would be a really good idea too. I've had a busy week as well. I also have the interview out this week with Isaac over at Illuminati Watcher as well, and we went down the rabbit hole in terms of all the other things, including UAP and Mandela effect and everything in the middle. But what I wanted to talk about right now is kind of just an overarching kind of philosophy and just a recapping and an overarching kind of um, resetting of the research that we've encountered and we've been a part of so far. So everybody in here, thank you so much. Oh, Buster, excellent. For as long as you can be in here, I really appreciate that. And thanks so much for everybody showing up on the fly like this on an odd day like this. I try to go Wednesdays whenever possible, but that's not always the case here. Now, for everybody that's new to the channel, you'll see inside of the description here just a plethora of links for you. And for even for folks that have been part of this quest this entire time, those links actually can maybe reorient you with some of the work that we've put together as a crew, as a team, because this isn't just an individual channel. At this point, this is I consider it somewhat like a movement, and we naturally have the gateway process right there on the top, and then the second link that we have in there is one that's just as powerful as a psychotronic document. Now, the psychotronic document, for anybody who's wondering, is just as important as the CIA gateway document. But I want to talk about real quick the FBI round robin document, because actually I haven't really talked about that very much, and that's actually a pretty powerful document, and that starts to talk about the multidimensional aspect of reality as well. It has a nice cross section to the UAP UFO confirmation process. Now, the document is old, and this goes back to 1947, what I'm about to read to you. But it gives you kind of a nice perspective to understand where we are in terms of understanding the multidimensional aspect of reality. And you juxtapose that nicely with the gateway document, where it starts talking about the holographic version of reality. And if you actually go to page 22 inside the FBI.gov document, and you go down to section 6 here, it talks about, actually it's sections really 3 to 6, and it says the visitors are human-like but much larger in size. And this is a specific memorandum about ETs, and they said that they are not extricate Earth people, but they are off-world. And it says here, they do not come from any planet as we know the word. And this plays really well into what I was saying on Talk is Jericho, talking about species that are mentioned in the gateway process, where they talk about non-corporeal intelligent life forms, and to be intellectually prepared to handle that. And it also says here in section 6, the bodies of the visitors and their craft automatically, they enter the vibrational ratio of our density matter. And this is from 1947. Now, that was a big gap to the gateway process from 1983. So that kind of fills in some of those more, I don't know, I guess I wish I would have answered the questions and filled them out more, but you're nervous, you're on something that big. And so I wanted to put together for everybody that's new here, all of those kinds of things. And so you'd have one place to check it out as we talk about these different kinds of seemingly different partitioned off sections of, I don't know, you can call it the esoteric, you can call it occult, you can call it whatever you like. But once you start reading the documents and you get a holistic understanding of what's happening, you start to understand, well, frankly, a new understanding of reality itself. Hey, Lenny, how you doing, man? The current narrative is a triple combo. Asimov's Foundation, Heinlein, Stranger in a Strange Land, and Donaldson's The Real Story. Yeah, exactly. Well said. So ultimately, when you start going through these documents, what you're going to take part of and what you'll be a part of with this channel is, I'm starting to think it's somewhat like a mystery school, but we don't have the second component of what a mystery school really is. So what the original mystery schools were, they were a group of people that came together and they had ideas about the way in which the world works. And they had ideas about how reality actually works. And it was in great opposition to the natural and normal paradigm, the narrative that was actually going on at the time. And so what these schools did was they came together and they didn't proselytize, and that's not what we do here. It's not what I do about the Mandela effect or ultimately anything else about any kind of interdimensional changes or changes in the matrix or any other handles that can quickly help you get up to speed with the Mandela effect itself. What I try to do is hopefully people find it through word of mouth, and over time you build a reputation. And by doing that, you share these kinds of documents so people can understand and orient themselves where you're coming from. So ultimately, when I say like a new mystery school, I know the title may seem really provocative or, for people who are true, quote unquote, truthers. But really, I'm not being clickbaity, and I'm not trying to troll anyone, because what we really are in a way is building our own kind of mystery school, in that we have an alternative understanding of reality now. We have a holographic understanding of reality, a multidimensional aspects of reality, and we have the documentation to back it up. And now we can watch the headlines and understand things from a new perch. And from that new perch, we can dig deeper into the articles and just not read off the articles and give opinions about it. We're able to read off articles and actually reference FOIA documents. We're able to reference CIA, DIA, DOD documents and give you a better understanding of actually what's coming out of mainstream articles, whether it's Newsweek or space.com, Popular Mechanics, whatever it may be. And in that way, you have the first part of the mystery school down, through vocabulary and language. We have what I call this thing of ours, because it's special, because the Mandela effect. And just today on Twitter, someone had mentioned that about Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. It's a perfect example. I know it's a pop culture reference, but nonetheless, it's a good example. And they had mentioned that we were confusing it because of Shrek. Well, those of us from an older generation, you have a deeper understanding of Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, maybe years or even decades before the movie Shrek ever came out. So Shrek, if you're, let's say you're in your late 30s or your 40s, you can understand that there was a time that the movie Shrek didn't exist, and yet we all still thought that it was Mirror, Mirror on the Wall in Snow White, and it wasn't. It's Magic Mirror. And now we have a tweet today or someone that's friendly to the channel, and this is how it works here, sends out a tweet that shows us that she went to Disneyland and sent it out. And sure enough, inside of one of the rides, it says magic mirror on the wall. And that's not the line. And it's not. And then after that, I tweeted it out for a little while, but then ultimately I removed it. It said that we're misremembering because of Shrek. And that certainly isn't the case. Because for those of us that remember a time before the movie Shrek, we understood for the longest time that it was mirror, mirror on the wall. And now it's magic mirror. So what you have is a snapshot in time, or a generational snapshot in time of your understanding of this reality. That's right, Ashley. It was mirror, mirror. And it was always mirror, mirror. And there's no other reference we need like Shrek or anything else. So, hey, Bling Laden, Data Junkie, hey, everybody. I appreciate everybody being here. And so I thought I'd throw in the documents here to all the newcomers and say welcome. You're very welcome here. We're very happy that you're here. And if you have suggestions or comments or something like that, or you have details that you'd like to share, one of the easiest ways to get a hold of me is on YouTube. I try to, if I know someone's being earnest with me and they're not trolling me, I will earnestly try to answer and talk. And, yeah, I know the ET phone home, ET home phone. But so we have this thing where we're passing back and forth this information. We're fortunate enough that we can capture it now with the technology that we have with the internet and also with YouTube. So that's one advancement that we have over this mystery school. But the second thing, the second most important component that you need to have for a mystery school is for this kind of new understanding and reorientation of reality, for it to benefit you in some way. And I think in a lot of ways that's still yet to come. And I'm not entirely sure what form that's going to come in, but I feel as if it's there, it's out there in some way, in some fashion. I really think I think it's there. And I think we're all going to be a part of it when it shows itself. Just like if you were a part of the channel 6 months or a year ago before we had all of this documentation, we were almost foreshadowing what was gonna come out and what we were going to see. And sure enough, as each document rolled out, whether it was the FBI documents, the DoD documents, the CIA documents, we started to get a broader and better and just a more powerful understanding of this reality around us. And as we shared things back and forth, it became a communal thing. So SMQAI is truly is more than a channel. It's really it's a we're sharing ideas. It's like this economy of ideas that we're all sharing with one another. And it may be something just as everyday as the sun now is white. It's not yellow anymore. And that may be something that's exactly perfect for a mystery school. That people who only maybe 60 years or 50 years from now, they'll have to go back and listen to something like this. And this is part of that, where we hand down something to the next generation and say, there was once a yellow sun. It wasn't always white. And it wasn't always just really awful. And it's just, it's too strong. It hurts your eyes. And there was a yellow sun. And also, too, just like now we have the white rainbow. We have a completion, I feel, of a cycle. And I'm not entirely sure what that cycle's all about, but I've never pretended to have all of the answers. And that's something else too that I wanted to address, is that coming here, I'm not going to have all the answers. That's what is another thing that I think that makes all of us very, very unique. And so Charles is telling me to, interesting. So anyway, Um, that's something that we can hand down to people, just by talking to one another and things that we're observing. Like the Arctic being on fire. Did you guys hear about that? Yeah, the Arctic is on fire right now. That's so strange, right? That's so odd. I read that in my Twitter feed this morning, and it was as soon as I woke up, I looked at it and I was like, the Arctic is on fire. How can the Arctic be on fire? That doesn't even make sense. And they were talking about the Arctic having some in the Siberian Arctic, it has this peat, like this peat moss, and somehow it can catch fire now. So it's just these odd things you'll notice about the Earth once you're a part of this channel that everybody knows about. And we'll just talk about it. And it's just so strange. Like the Arctic is on fire right now. Arctic fires. Let's see. Arctic fires. Go to Google. Top stories. So much of the Arctic is on fire, you can see it from space. Now, in the old reality that I was in, the Arctic was really cold. And I know it's in summertime, and unless it's tundra, everything thaws. But having Arctic wildfires to me, if it's not a Mandela effect, it's certainly, you add it to everything else, it's certainly a strange log to add to that fire. Huge Arctic fires have now emitted a record-breaking amount of CO2. And certainly I've got to get to, and I promised this person, I promised that I would give him Kyle Crawford. I want to give him a big shout out and a big thanks because he gave me a kind of a quiz, right? And he goes, "Can you name?" Um, he goes, "How many oceans are there?" And I said, "Well, there's the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Arctic, and the Indian." And sure enough, he let me know that now there's also the Southern Ocean. So there you go. You have a brand new ocean. Now, you couple that with Arctic fires, we have a new ocean. The moon is still in Earth's atmosphere. Need not worry. I checked. It is still in Earth's atmosphere. It still shrinks and grows. The moon has water on it. There is an Andy Warhol on the moon. There is a moon museum. There is a memorial on the moon, not just for cosmonauts, but astronauts as well. So if we ever finally get to the moon, we will have attractions when we get there. And certainly those attractions will be, in part, high-end art. Can we get some thumbs up? Appreciate it. Oh, and the oceans under the oceans. Those are my favorite. The oceans under the oceans, yeah. And they say that they're so dense with salt. That's why people who go under the water and they try to dive into the oceans and they bounce off of them. It's quite stunning. Now, certainly, it can be said that because we have this new technology of the internet, we're able to share information that wasn't, readily available to everybody before. But there comes a point where even the articles that we have here and the plethora, it's actually a library, and that's what adds to this channel as being a mystery school. At this point, we have a library of articles and history here. You can go and just not listen to the videos and just go through the descriptions and go through the links. They're stunning what's out there. And the admissions that no one pays attention to, that science itself has had to admit to, and to show that, things are not what they seem. And of course, I couldn't leave out all of the UFO and UAP stuff here for people just to kind of wet their palate. But we also get into some deeper things like from phys.org, elements can be solid and liquid at the same time, studies reveals. And this was like my big deal. I was really into this for a long time. And the reason why I was really into things like this, and I get on these kicks, and people will be able to tell you if you're new to the show, is because that's important to be able to say that matter can be in two states simultaneously, because that shows then that if matter can be simultaneously two things, then the idea that quantum physics holds, that something can be something, it can be in 2 states, like the cat can be dead or alive until it's being observed. That's showing that there are aspects of quantum law that is traversing all the way up into the physics that we all live with every single day. And that's something that is really powerful and something to look out for, because that's something that blends nicely with all the technology that's going out there right now. Because you'll see one of the kind of, I don't know, mission statements, bullet points that we have here is that reality itself is changing, not only from the science that's out there and from technologies out there that are secret and exotic, and some of it not so secret, some of it not even so new, but that it's leaving an indelible mark on all of us, and it's leaving an indelible mark on reality itself. And hopefully I left that elements can be solid and liquid at the same time article. It's a great article, and it goes along really nice with a plant article. Now you might think a plant article is pretty boring, but if you read about photosynthesis and how it performs quantum computation at the same time, you start to understand that the quantum world that was in the submolecular world, the subatomic world, is starting to traverse up into this world. So it's a re-understanding and it's a reparsing of the elements, the elemental forces, and the laws that make up this reality. And by listening to a channel like this, I think that we'll be better suited to understand when these changes start to happen more and more and more. And when you become illuminated with these kinds of things and you're starting to see things happen, you won't be so shocked, because oftentimes we'll start talking about something and then 3 or 4 weeks later it'll hit the mainstream and people will be confused or frightened or whatever it may be. But if you start off in these articles and you start paying attention to them, and you cross reference them with some of the research and the library that we've built here over time, I think what you get is you start to get something really unique here that you can come back to over and over again. And that's pretty much my more than 30-second elevator pitch for the channel for everybody that's new. And for everybody that's listening to this now, or everybody that's going to listen to this. I think it's helpful too for just the old crew, everybody who's they're you're part of the family. You come back week after week, and you offer up interesting things, and like Dead GPK, great channel. People should check that out. Kinetic sand, interesting. Let me see what that's all about here. Let's check this out. Kinetic sand. So we have Arctic fires, right? Interesting. Ooh. Oh, right. I've seen this before. Kinetic sand, actually. Yeah, that's cool. I bet that kinetic sand would work well in like a, deeper vibrational cymatic setup somehow, because that would be the next leap for cymatics to go from a kind of liquid form or changing liquid and changing light matter like sand or particles to change it to things like a clay object or something. But that, yeah, kinetic sand is pretty interesting. Kinetic sand on the beach. But this is our school. This is our mystery school, and this is what we do. Yeah, and hit that thumbs up button, everybody, please. Hey, what's going on, Angelia, Stacy? How are you? Dark Wolf, hello. Eileen, hello. Bit of Venom, thank you. Raleigh, hello. And oftentimes if you go to other channels, well, there isn't really a lot of other channels like this. You might be able to pick up something as well, and maybe do your own cross-referencing and then offer it up to us, and then what we'll do is obviously give credit to that channel, and then we'll talk about what they're talking about and see if we can do some of our own research and pull it all together. Where is the thumbs on the mobile? I don't know. Maybe somebody will be able to tell you. Huh. I'm not entirely sure. Angelia. So let's see. I'm going through this. What we have here. We've got the sun as a portal, which, NASA.gov. That's interesting. That was an interesting article you can get into. The sun as a portal, gotta be that's a good one. Um, definitely. And they open that one up. That's been a long time since we looked at that one. The sun as a portal. Let's see. Hidden portals in Earth's magnetic field. Oh, yeah, that was a good one. See, and that's what I'm talking about. You've got such so it says here a favorite theme of science fiction is, quote, "the portal, an extraordinary opening of space or time that connects travelers to distant realms. A good portal is a shortcut, a guide, a door into the unknown. If only they actually existed." Now, this is from NASA.gov, folks. It turns out they do. And it says here, we call them X points or electron diffusion regions, explains plasma physicist Jack Scudder of the University of Iowa. They're places where the magnetic field of Earth connects to the magnetic field of the sun. And this was a big deal for a while, and it's part of this mystery school of ours because we can understand those kinds of things. And whenever you go on and talk about the moon being not what it is, if you have some context like a NASA.gov article, you start to understand the context better. And I sound a little less like a lunatic. But anyway, let's move on. It says here, there's places where the magnetic field of Earth connects to the magnetic field of the sun, creating an uninterrupted path leading from our own planet to the sun's atmosphere, 93 million miles away. Observation by NASA's Themis spacecraft and Europe's cluster probe suggests that these magnetic portals open and close dozens of times each day. So that kind of begs the question then, kind of the heating of the Earth, it kind of it opens actually. It was unending, and I probably obsessed about this particular article for at least a week. So that's what we have to offer here for all the new folks. And it's just a great place to be and a great place to hang out. And let's get those thumbs up. And as always, to help with everybody, we're actually on this channel. We do support super chats, and 100% of the super chats from the research team, we've all decided to put it towards a web page, and that will be something that we all can have. Maybe perhaps a chat, a place people could go to 24 hours a day, and that's what all the money is going to go towards. So if you decide to throw into a super chat, um, it'll be greatly appreciated. But ultimately, a thumbs up too helps out quite a bit because a thumbs up helps us fight the algorithm. And um, I don't know why we had the channel itself was doing really well around January, and something happened, and we were put in some kind of bucket, even though we're not political. Um, and in terms of conspiratorial, I try to be very open about when I am speculating versus what I'm actually reading to you from a mainstream news article. So that's the difference. And also, too, I'll tell you when I don't know something. I think that's a common misconception a lot of people have with YouTubers is they act as if they know everything and then they give you no kind of really any kind of proof. They're just, the loudest person in the bar, so to speak, and they just throw statements out that are just inaccurate and incredibly wild. And if I do something like that, and I will do something like that from time to time, I try to preface it always with telling you that indeed I'm speculating right now, or a source told me this, and here's the closest thing I can give you to like straight up proof, or I'll make a reference or a couple of references to what we already have. Oh, thank you, Stacy. Thank you very much. Dark Wolf, thank you. Appreciate that. Excellent, excellent, thank you. And, though I've slacked off, I'm starting to put together a Patreon. That way people who wanna do this more anonymously or however, or want something in terms of a different kind of research or something, they can go through Patreon. So that's what we'll do. But I really wanted to just, I know there's a lot of new people showing up, and I just want to welcome all of you and give you an idea of what you can get here and why I would like you to stay and be a part of this and be with us, because I think we're a different kind of YouTube page in that we give you the articles and we just don't read them. We try to do a bit more about that. And then once you get in the groove and the rhythm of it, you'll really, I think, start to enjoy this mystery school here. And that's what it is. It's a verbal passing of energy and resources from me to you and from us to you, because there's the core team, which is myself, Buster 1978, and Chick. We make sort of the nucleus. But it's this chat that you're seeing and the people that I call out and some that I may miss, but it's not on purpose, that are part of, a part of this thing, And thank you, Chris. I hope people pay attention as well. But that's why it's this thing of ours. It's very special here. And I'm noticing, because Mr. Jericho was so kind to have me on, that we have a larger audience now. So hopefully we can really analyze this world and this understanding in a new kind of way. And it's a new kind of channel here, because I don't know a lot. Thank you, Linda. I don't know. That's the point. I'm on the journey with you. I don't know. Um, so I just wanted to jump on and say welcome, and hopefully everybody looking in the chat, you'll see who the regulars are, and you too will be part of that. And then as it goes on, you'll get up to speed and you'll start to instantly understand. And people, and it's kind of funny. I'm reminiscing, like with the hidden portals here, the NASA funded research here with these portals. It's just so interesting. You go back and you look at the round robin document, and it talks about, go to page 22. And then inside the gateway process document, inside of the playlist, we actually have a breakdown of the pages, the kind of 101 course. If you just want to get through the pages really fast, we have a breakdown somewhere. And then ultimately, when we figure out the one, we have a really powerful document. I don't want to even give out the name because people are going to go look for it. We'll probably, with new documents going forward, because what we found out were big pages were taking our research and they were putting it behind their wall, bigger channels. And I mean channels with like over 100,000 people. And they were taking our research and putting it behind their paywall and their Patreon. And it's not about just the money. It's also about the work we put in. And they can do that as long as we would at least, give us the credit, because we readily give people credit at the moment. Like Buster found this, but the original source, the earliest source that we can find from Gateway is from a channel called Beyond the Veil with the Geos. There are a couple that I work with over at Truth Frequency Radio, which I do a show there, by the way, on Sundays at 5 o'clock, and that's truthfrequencyradio.com. But that's what we try to do when we find something else like that. Yeah, it's our hard work is getting stolen. And the reason why it's stolen, had they not given us credit for the work, that would have been something. If it wasn't behind a paywall and they just stole it, that would have been one thing. But then to put it behind a paywall and be deceptive to people, I think is very tasteless, and it's unfortunate. So now we have some other documents we're going to put out, but we're going to figure out how to do it in a way that other people aren't going to steal our work and profit from us. So we'll work that out. We'll figure it all out. It all works out eventually. So everybody who's getting on now, we have like 92 watching. Just in case you're showing up, just everybody who's new, we're welcoming those folks, and I'm giving you inside here just a drop of all kinds of data here with the links inside the description. And it's like I said, it's a recap of our research and our philosophy. And I call it it's kind of a mystery school, is what I was saying earlier. If you're just joining us now, and I really appreciate that. And we were talking about, I was just reminiscing about like the NASA.gov portal document, that there's a portals that connect from the sun to the earth. And that document is inside of the description here. And so whenever I say things like the moon isn't what you think and that it's made of metal, I should have included that document as well. That it's true. It is true. And people, um, you know, th- I had some comments that were unkind about that. Typing that in right now. So the moon is made of metal. Is the moon an artificial satellite? Interesting. I would venture state to say yes. Let's see. Oh, here's it. And for anybody who's new too, we have a really great article here while I'm looking for this. Ah, the 50th anniversary. That's too funny. Oh, we have different kinds of moon madness articles too. Um, so let's see what this is also from NASA.gov about the moon. There's a lot going on with the moon. It's inside Earth's atmosphere. It has a museum. It has memorials to it. It changes in size. It has water to it. Oh, the shrinking one. Shrinking moon may be generating moonquakes. Oh, there you go. There's something new if you're new to the channel. Not only is the shrinking moon, well, shrinking, it also has moonquakes. And it also has a core that is metallic. All right. So anyway, uh huge mystery mass found under the moon's crater. And what I'll go ahead and do, if this is National Geographic here. It talks about the metallic core of the moon. Now, what I offer up, and I give context to it. Oh, good. They say massive blob discovered in moon surface. And I'll go ahead and throw that link in here for everybody. And that gives you context to some of the things that I blurt out sometimes. And it may seem, if you're not paying attention, it may seem kind of out of sorts, but I do have a method to my madness here. So there you go. I can add that as we go on. All right. It says here, researchers have discovered something massive lurking underneath the far side of the moon, a mysterious blob with a mass akin to a pile of metal 5 times the size of the big island of Hawaii. So there you go, the moon. And it's so funny. You'll see the picture where it's blue inside the article. It's a very famous picture. It's pretty infamous at this point to me. And they take a circle of the blue part of the moon and they're saying, "Oh, that's the core." And really, it's much bigger than that. So just be aware of that. All right. Anyway, I'm gonna jump off now. That's how I usually do it. I'm not gonna drag on forever about this. So welcome to all the new folks. Get those thumbs up for me. Help me out. Super chats when you can. We'll keep the research going. Everybody, thank you so much. And we will catch you next time. It will probably be, what is this, Wednesday? Unless something new comes up, no, it's Thursday, excuse me. I will probably see you Saturday with Chick and myself on the Lost and Found bin. Thank you so much for joining. And subscribe if you haven't. Join this mystery school, this journey of ours. Thank you.